Oh, maybe they got all drugged because they were trying to... sneak on the ballerina lady to the ship. Why don't you tell us now, Miss Pavlova? Tell us exactly what happened last night. It was a little after 1 in the morning. It was so late, I didn't have time to feed Darka, so I gave her some food. And then, all of a sudden, she scratched me and jumped out of my hands. People do say that cats become very anxious and nervous in new environments. She was so fast, she disappeared through the ventilator before I could stop her. And that's how you acquired the rather nasty wound on the back of your hand, I take it? Yes, and I had read the rules on the wall. I knew that I was not allowed Darka with me. Yes, modern science suggests that animals can carry infectious diseases. It's a precaution, really. So I listened and listened, trying to hear if there was some noise in the next cabin. I feel like that's not it. It was very quiet. I was sure if someone was there, he must be sleeping. So at that point, I thought it's safe to try and lure the kitten back again by dangling the end of the toy through the ventilator and into the adjoining cabin. Darka always loves his toy, but it didn't work. Nothing worked. I tried using her favorite toy. I tried whistling to her softly, but nothing. She didn't return. So the faint whistling sound Cosmo wrote in his diary was Miss Pavlova trying to retrieve her pet. Cats have a propensity to remain hidden in the shadows when frightened. Yes, so there was nothing else I could do. I just had to wait until she had calmed down. But then she heard what actually happened, right? Thud. I nearly passed out with shock. I heard her cry out and then... Oh, it was such a dreadful bang. Then afterwards, nothing. It was totally silent. Kazuma was... From the appearance of the brown mark on the floor, it seems likely that what you heard was the victim stepping on the glass bell and tripping up. The SS Buria is a large vessel, but even she can pitch and roll violently without warning. If Mr. Asagi was already off balance as a result of the ship lurching when the kitten got under his feet, the combination of unfortunate factors could have easily caused him to fall over. But what became of the kitten afterwards? In the end, I managed to get her to come back through the ventilator. Yet Darka is nowhere to be seen. I must have forgotten to lock my case. Now she's disappeared again. Gracious, that cat is insufferably restless as I am. Well, he knows something about him. He knows something about himself at least. When I woke this morning, I heard that the young man in the cabin next to mine had died. But I couldn't bring myself to tell anyone what had happened. But this also doesn't explain why they have the writing in Russian too, for the closet. I was too scared. Scared that they would send me back. Oh, hold on a minute. What about the snake? You're right. Where is it? If the snake isn't your friend, Miss Pavlova, then whose is it and where did it come from? What on earth is such a dangerous creature to kill the front of the ship? Oh my gosh. Oh, I didn't see it. Oh, that's why he had those like weird, like marks on his face, like the stripy. Snake is my friend. His name is, Pirotsko? Is that how you pronounce that? Hmm? What? What? The snake belongs to you. He escaped from the cage when the emergency alarm sounded. I was looking for him. I did not expect to find him in here. Yes, how did that snake manage to get in this car? But animals aren't permitted on board. Huh. We are at sea for 1 year. You want to be so long without a close friend? Without someone who understands? Couldn't you find someone a little more human who understands you better? But, my dear bully fellow, I'll go get you a venomous snake. Surely you can appreciate the danger you're putting everyone in. No venom. Piroshko does not have venom. He is harmless, very long, but very gentle. He is adorable, like Granny. It's venomous. Yes. Now he is hungry, so he is abandoned. But once I feed him, you will see big smile. And you feed him what? Milk, I suppose? Ha! Let me save me. They milk chickens and they dig a snake that drink milk only and stupid stories. The rose go eats a mouse. Big fuck round notices. Oh, so is that what the mousetrap in the passageway out there is for? Of course. How else can I catch my friend's favorite food? The thing says top of the food chain line. Look at their eyes right now. It refuses to drink milk. It can't hear a whistle. It can't climb up a bell cord, and it's not even venomous. How did it? Something so inept land a starring role. It is not my fault. I do not make up stories. My Birochko is nothing to do with this incident. Well, that's what happened. That's the truth behind my best friend's tragic death. Dude, that sucks. That's so terrible. I guess maybe then the whole, like, setup thing with all the Russian and... was just them trying to hide the fact that, they didn't want Miss Pavlova to get in trouble since she was trying to escape, right? Miss Pavlova. I understand the difficult situation you found yourself in, and I do sympathize. But please remember this. A young man lost his life. If you're going to attempt to cover your guilt with lies, then no matter what the circumstances, I cannot forgive you. What are you talking about, Miss Mikulova? What lies? Miss Pavlova just confessed everything. It was just a series of unfortunate events. An accident. Is it? I'm no great detective like Mr. Sholmes. I don't have a gift of for knowing the truth. But even I can see it. That was not the truth. It's not? It can be. Don't you agree, Mr. Naruhodo? To be perfectly honest, yes. Because he must have fallen. That part's probably fine, but like, definitely something else happened, right? There's a discrepancy in Miss Pavlova's story, I'm sure of it. I just can't quite put my finger on it. So I guess we have to figure that out. I confess. I was intending to let Scotland Yard deal with any outstanding issues on this matter. Oh. I'm only present here for a very specific reason. The truth is, you, Mr. Naruhodo, are simply a distraction. Distraction? I do hope you're not finding your checkers too uncomfortable. Ah, not again. When did you do that? Especially as they're under risk as a result of my intervention. I was rather hoping I could resolve matters before we make our next port call. You were, Mr. Sholmes? Yes, but I overlooked one important detail. The deceased young man was a very close companion of yours. Was he not? Yes, Kazuma was my closest friend. I owed him my freedom, even. In that case, we must follow this to its conclusion. No further distractions. You must come for the real truth here, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, whatever that may be. The key to this is a discrepancy in Miss Pavlova's story, I'm sure. If we can chase that down, maybe the truth will come clear. The truth about how you really died. And how that scene in your cabin really came to be. Alright, I'll see what I can do. Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Naruhodo. So then, shall we begin? Yes. What should we ponder first? Is the victim who lost his life in a cabin that was bolted shut from the inside. Was this truly an unfortunate accident? Or was in fact no accident at all? This is what we must establish in the first instance. But we've already established it, haven't we? Man took over the kitten that had gone into his cabin via the ventilator. Tragic, yes, but still an accident. Wait, let's just take a step back. It doesn't make sense if that's really what happened, does it? I'm going to have to ask you to spell it out for me, I'm afraid. Yes, it's starting to take shape now. There's a clear contradiction between the facts and Miss Pavlova's story. The evidence is right here in Cosmo's cabin. It's undeniable. His death couldn't have possibly been a mere accident. Really? I mean, because if he just died, then he wouldn't have written anything anyways. I mean, I guess he didn't write it, but I don't know. Hi! Oh, I guess that was it, okay. This broken piece of glass next to the mark on the floor. That's the glass bell the kitten had around its neck. We already know all about that. It was broken in half when the victim tripped over the cat and fell. So we already have a satisfactory explanation. Where's the flaw in that logic? Unfortunately, there's a very big flaw. A fatal flaw. What? But that's really what happened. Then how did one half of the bell end up back here in this cabin? Oh, that's true. Okay. Ah. Yes, remember that we found the other half of the glass bell in that waste paper basket. Would you care to explain that, Miss Pavlova? Oh no. Both these pieces of evidence clearly point to the same conclusion. That when Mr. Asogi died last night in his cabin, there was someone else in the room. And that same person deliberately arranged the scene to disguise the truth, in order to cover up his or her own guilt. Yes, there was someone else present in Miss Asogi. You are wasting time. Someone else was there? Duh. Of course, we noticed. What are you talking about? The bulkhead was bolted shut from inside. There was no way in or out. Oh, yes. And the only other person in the cabin when the young student died was you. It's true. I was in the cabin when it happened. We were shut inside the cabin wardrobe, to be precise about the details. But I don't know Russian. There's no way I could have left that message. Not would have. There's no way you could have left that message to be precise about the details. Would you mind? Ha 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 ha. Forgive me, my dear fellow. As I was saying, the person in question wrote the word wardrobe in Russian on the floor. In an attempt to incriminate me for the crime, even though I had been asleep in there the entire time. And then, the same victim picked up the broken glass bell that had fallen to the floor, for fear of becoming evidence that would show how Mr. Asogi really died. But why wouldn't this person have taken all the pieces of the bell away? Leaving half behind was always going to raise questions. Yes, well, it was past 1 o'clock in the early hours of the morning. The cabin would have been quite dark. A single small lamp suspended from the ceiling would have barely cast any light onto the floor. Little wonder then that the culprit failed to notice a fragment of the tiny item. You all suspect me, don't you? Seaman Stroganoff. Nina is a woman of sea. She is daughter of strong sailor. 2 years ago, they lost Sir Danzig Hills and she went away to join ballet company. But before, she was dancer on the ship, a member of the ship's band. You do not accuse ship's angel of being criminal. Ah, so that's it. You said that when young student died, Nina was there in his cabin. That is not possible. I give my tooth. Well, that's almost interesting. And why would you give her a tooth, Ray? How can you be so sure? You are a great detective, you should know. Look through the eyes. Cabin bulkhead was bolted shut from inside. Nobody could go into cabin, not Nina, not anyone. But you want to tell me that the killer can walk through locked doors? Yet, it is impossible. Ah, he's right. But wait, I've read about this in detective stories. People often tie thread around door latches so they can open and close them from the outside. Are you stupid? These buckets are not barn doors. Certainly not. These are watertight doors, as one would expect to find on any modern steamship. Constructed of heavy steel with not a gap in sight. No threads or needles or magnets could have been used. No, no, of course not. I thought so too. Mr. Naruhodo suggested it earlier. Suzato-san, how could you shift it onto me like that? So Seaman Stroganoff has a valid point. The cabin door couldn't have been bolted shut from the outside. Not necessarily. What? I put it to you that I could bolt this cabin door without laying a finger on it. And in this very cabin, we can see the traces of the method I have in mind having been used before. I don't believe it. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, I believe you know what I mean, don't you? A way to shut the bolt of the cabin door from the outside? One way does spring to mind. Do you really know what Mr. Trump means, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, so should you. Because we've seen it happen. Indeed we have. So, would you care to do the honors, Mr. Naruhodo? Point out the telling signs of the method that was used to slide the cabin door bolt across from the outside. The books. Look at the bookcase, sir. See how all the books and the things on it have toppled over? That must have happened when the ship made its emergency stop before. Yes, that's right. It's a very powerful vessel. After all, when the engines are thrown in reverse, a violent jolt goes across the entire ship. Any small objects that aren't fastened down are bound to fall over. I believe... Yes, this was known as the force of inertia acting on the objects. Is there nothing Suzuki doesn't know? Or that isn't in her book at least? Well, whatever it's called, the same force that pushed over those books on the bookcase also made something else in this cabin move. The bolt on the cabin door. It was very obvious just after the emergency stop that the ship made earlier. We had come into this cabin not long before and we hadn't bolted the door. But then... it bolted by itself. Isn't that really bad for a ship? Because like, if all the if you like stop the ship and all the bolts get closed and you can't open any of the doors. Oh yes, that's it. When the ship stopped suddenly, the bolt flew across and locked the door. Yes, it's made of metal, but a small alignment to be moved by the ship's sudden change of speed. Or the force of inepta, if you want to call it that. Are we trying to say that last night after Mr. Asogi was killed? Another emergency stop? When I woke up this morning and looked around the cabinet, I thought it looked a little odd. All the books on the shelf had toppled over, and all the ornaments. It was almost as if someone had run their hand across the shelf and deliberately knocked everything over. Oh yes, I remember that. I set them all up again, didn't I? Then when we came into this cabin, we were surprised to see the same thing here. All the books and everything had toppled over, just like in Mr. Asogi's cabin. Oh my! Do you have anything to say about this, Miss Pavlova? Are you out of your mind? You say Birdie, I've made the emergency stop. It does seem a little far-fetched. How could that possibly happen? Unless you're saying that the cobra is actually someone from the engine room. Oh, it's simple enough. Are you forgetting the button on the passageway outside? Use to trigger the emergency alarm. Oh yes, of course. There was a notice, wasn't there, telling you only to press the button in times of emergency? So I guess after the person killed them, they press the emergency thing. On dark nights, when the fog is dense, the captain cannot afford to rely on the eyes of his lookout alone. Hence the placement of a number of buttons around the vessel to allow any crewman to raise the alarm. The sort of button one is almost compelled to press to satisfy one's curiosity. Wait, it was you? When the button is pressed, two things happen in the interests of safety. The emergency alarm bell rings, and the vessel comes to a complete stop. As indeed, it did a little earlier today. Oh, so he pressed it earlier, probably. Like, when all of us fell over and stuff. Mr. Sholmes, surely it wasn't you who... As I always say, a button has but one purpose in life. To be pressed, whatever the occasion. He sounds almost proud of himself. Although you mess with the ship, I report you to it. You are in much trouble now. Now, I'm sure that all can wait until later. Let's not overlook the fact that we have now learned a valuable lesson. When a vessel makes an emergency stop, the bolts on the cabin doors slide closed. So, what we must now consider. Yes, it all comes down to one thing now. Last night, after what happened to Mr. Hasoki. Did the ship make an emergency stop, or did it not? You are idiots. The Borgia used a huge step with many passengers who would make emergency stop even in the middle of the night. There would be chaos everywhere. What are your thoughts, Mr. Naruhodo? Ah, so this is where the drug food comes in, I guess. It's certainly possible that some kind of emergency happened last night. We have evidence to support that idea. Really? What evidence, Mr. Naruhodo? I mean, when we woke up, all the books fell over, right? Fascinating. Do show us, my good man. What evidence promotes the theory that some emergency gripped this vessel last night? Okay, let's see. I mean, this maybe? I don't know if that's what we're supposed to say, though. So what shows promotes the theory that some emergency happened last night? Okay, so probably this, right? Seaman Stroganoff. It's your duty to patrol the first-class area of the ship, isn't that right? No, that is correct. Why? In the ship's log here. This is where you record the details of your duties. What did you do? That is mine. Ah, you rather carelessly left it atop the little makeshift bureau in the passageway out there. But as responsible passengers, we took it into our care with a mind to return it to you later. I left it there on purpose. That is where I put it always. The point is, looking at what you usually record, it's clear that under normal circumstances, you write the phrase nothing to report every 30 minutes. From 2 o'clock last night until first light this morning, nothing was recorded at all. Nothing recorded in the log. That is... Duh, because nothing happened. But if nothing happened, you would normally write nothing to report, wouldn't you? Indeed so. Which tells us that shortly after 2 a.m. something happened here aboard the SS Burial. Something sufficiently significant to make you forget to fill in the ship's log, in fact. Are you suggesting that the ship really did make an emergency stop in the middle of the night? Stop talking rubbish! If I'm perfectly honest, I find that a little hard to believe myself. Oh, why? Well, because of something as major as an emergency stop really had happened. Surely all of us would have noticed. That's very true. Thanks to the emergency stop we experienced earlier, we all know what it feels like now. The ship lurched so violently, and the alarm bell was so loud. I can't imagine that anybody would sleep through that, even if it happened in the dead of night. Well, no, that's a good point. What, the throbbing? Sorry? What do you mean? Your head, man. The throbbing of your head since this morning. We all have suffered with it. Ah! Oh, yes, I have a headache, you're right. In fact, I haven't been feeling myself since I woke up today. Nor have I. My head has been feeling heavy ever since dawn. Yes, you've all been afflicted, haven't you? Just as I suspected. He's right, my head's been throbbing today too. And since eating dinner yesterday evening, everything has felt sort of hazy. I can't really remember anything after I climbed up inside the wardrobe. And the first thing I noticed this morning was a throbbing pain in my head. I had already been dragged out of the wardrobe. And I had those handcuffs put on me by that point. Why didn't I wake up when all that was happening to me? Tell me, Mr. Naruhodo. You boarded this vessel as a stowaway, didn't you? Oh, well, yes, I'm sorry. A stowaway class accommodation doesn't usually include meals. What did you survive on? Ah, well, Kazuma looked after me. He was always happy to share the meals. So you enjoyed some of the whole roast chicken dish that was served yesterday evening, I take it? Yes, in fact, I had all that. Husband wasn't fond of chicken. Oh, really? So the victim didn't eat any of the chicken at all? That's right. He didn't touch it. Is that relevant? My dear fellow, does that not strike you? Oh, Mr. Sholmes, do you mean to say that there is something wrong with the chicken? I do. No, really? Is that really true? The meal prepared for the passengers last night had been tampered with. By the addition of a soporific designed to induce a very deep slumber in those who consumed it. A sleeping drug? Do you mean whoever did this laced every meal with a sleeping drug so that no one would notice the ship's emergency stop? Mr. Nuttall, though, of course that's not what Mr. Sholmes means. What a far-fetched idea. Precisely. Lacing every meal of every passenger on board with a soporific drug would certainly be impossible. Unless, that is, every single member of the crew was a conspirator. What? Mr. Sholmes? Well, Seaman? I'm sorry to say that any more deception in this matter will get you nowhere. If you refuse to talk, there would have to be an inquiry made through the shipping company, of course. And were that to happen, every member of the crew and the captain himself would be hauled over the coals for aiding and abetting a renegade. Please, no more. I will tell everything. Eh? I cannot make problems like this for everyone anymore. These crewmen are your former comrades, I believe. Yes. So when they decided to run away, I asked them to help me. We all agreed to help. Everyone to help. She threw away everything, the fame in the battle. Mother Russia. We wanted to help her, Angel. I don't believe it. You are right. We put sleeping drug on chicken last night. Yes, I remember now. I did notice her chewing on a lump of something strange and bitter at one point. We could not make all drug. What do you say? Dissolve? How about heavy seasoning? At midnight, in the waters near Shanghai, we brought our Angel on board. She was helped by comrades on shore with small fishing boats, while all the passengers of the SS Broda slept soundly. Thanks to the almost magical effects of the slumber-inducing potion, their evening meals had contained. So, if that's what happened, the only people awake on the ship last night were the crew, people who dislike chicken, and the newly boarded passenger, Miss Malova. And that would mean it would have been possible for you. You could have used the emergency stop trick to lock Kazuma's cabin door. But how does that make sense? Surely every cabin door would have ended up locked in that case, and there would have been complete chaos. Oh, I wouldn't say so. What? Ah, of course. Just like us, all the other passengers would have eaten their evening meal of chicken in their cabins, after which they would have been overwhelmed by the tiredness because of the sleeping drug. Quite. And accordingly, all passengers were already in their cabins for the night. Yes. The overwhelming majority of passengers would habitually sleep with their cabin doors bolted anyway, and so not one of them would have found it remarkable to find the door locked in the morning. In summary, in order to fasten the bolts of a single cabin door on the ship, the culprits brought the entire vessel to an emergency stop in the early hours of the morning. You have talked a long time and said many things. What is point? So that means definitely someone on the someone in the crew had done it, right? Because then Kazuma would have been like the only one awake. The point is what I said earlier. There was somebody else present on the scene when the victim lost his life last night. Someone who left a message and rushed it on the floor in an attempt to incriminate another. Someone who tried desperately to hide broken fragments of glass and would reveal the culprit's identity. And someone who abused the ship's emergency stop procedure in order to lock a door. All told, a busy night. But I don't know any about any of this. I'm just a little girl. You like to speak with your long English words and explain your clever ideas. But I am sailor, and sailors don't listen to long boring stories. We don't believe. Sailors like me, we trust only what we see with our eyes. A lot of traits. What? I'm quite of the same disposition, my good man. Observation to me is everything. Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, yes? Do you hear it? The accusatory cry of guilt on the wind. What accusatory cry of guilt? Sorry, you've lost me. Proof of involvement, man. You can't hear it. But you can't hear such a call with your ears. No. You must hear it with your eyes, for observation is the basis of all deduction. What are you talking about? I believe the time has come. One final logic and reasoning is spectacular to expose the truth. Oh man, we're doing this again? Holy crap. So, Mr. Naruhodo, your assistance, if you please. With what exactly, Mr. Sholmes? With observation, my dear fellow, just as I said. There's two, prevaricators? Observation? If you remember, Mr. Naruhodo, we know that somebody tried to fabricate evidence, don't we? By tampering with the scene of Mr. Asobi's death. What we're looking for is for some trace of evidence that one of these two were there when it happened. Precisely. You were delightfully quick to grasp my meaning. Alright, I'll see what I can see. So we're looking for a trace of evidence that shows someone else was there last night when Kazuma died. Was it just that someone else was there at the scene? Interesting. Chunky arms. Sailor's hat. Okay, wait, so... ears among the beautiful hair, like little pink shells. Okay, so we didn't read this right. This is the same thing. That's an earring. Beautiful. Guess we just can't observe everything, right? He has arms like tree trunks, doesn't he? Hairy tree trunks. Yes, he certainly has sailor's arms. He's a born man of the sea. Even had I been awake, I couldn't have done anything after being dragged out of that wardrobe by this man. Are you alright? You seem to be lost in thought. Oh, sorry. Blame those hairy tree trunks. Have you noticed something significant on Mr. Seaman Stroganoff's hat? Hmm? Oh, no. Sadly not. I was just thinking that if we've only found it in Kazuma's cabin, it would all be so easy. That's true. A hat dropped at the scene would have been very conclusive evidence. Ah, that's the point. I'm sure it's our university uniform hat at the scene somewhere. That is not a point, at least not one I'd like you to make. What else is there? Right ear. Oh, she lost her earring maybe. Oh, what's that? There's something attached to her ear. Ah, I expect that's what's called an earring. It's a little piece of jewelry. An earring? An earring, isn't it? It's really tiny. Perhaps part of it is missing, or maybe it broke off. So now all that's left is the clasp part that attaches to the ear. If that's the case. She doesn't appear to have noticed it's broken. Aha! Okay. I mean, do we select this, I guess? Hi! Did we find anything else? it's right here. Ink stain. Oh. Ka-bing. Seaman Stroganoff. You seem to have quite a large purple stain on the back of your white uniform. Eh? Oh, yes, I don't know where the dirt comes from. So nothing in particular comes to mind about the stain. What are you trying to say? It would appear that the significance of the stain escaped your attention, Seaman. Allow us to make it plain. There's a very large purple stain on the back of the Seaman Stroganoff's uniform. And I think what made it is clear. Indeed it is. So, Mr. Narahodo, present the evidence that proves it. My pleasure. Alright then. The evidence that proves what that stain on the back of Seaman Stroganoff's uniform really is. This one. The ink in the photo. Okay, I guess we're picking this one. Yes, it's this photograph, and the ink it shows. That's what caused the stain on your uniform. Ink? A rather unusual color of ink, purple. Oh! Ah, the penny drops, at last. Now you see the significance. The Russian word on the floor, next to the victim's body, was written in purple ink. The stain on the back of your uniform is ink of exactly the same color. If the ink had been dry, it couldn't have possibly stained your uniform in that way, which means you must have been present in the moments immediately after the ink was spilled. Alright. Yes. It was me. I did it. Everything. I arranged everything in that student's cabin to make it look like Wardrobe Man did it. Then I pressed button to make Bruria do emergency stop and bolt cabin door shut. I did everything so no one would suspect our angel. Biff, please. Don't worry, Angel. Let me do the talking. It was after 1 in the morning. I was on duty patrolling passageway. Then her angel came to me. She was white like sheet. Ah, okay, so he did just fall and then like she just didn't want it to like be involved in more trouble, right? Please, you must help me. I went with her. The door to cabin number 1 was open. When I looked inside, I saw a student boy on the floor. What happened here? Please, don't tell anyone. My little one, my little furry friend. Everything that happened in the cabin is like Angel told me. The kitten escaped to the ventilator, to Mr. Asugi's cabin. Then he tripped over it and broke his neck when he fell to the floor. Yes. Oh, that was... oh my gosh, I didn't pay attention to the names again. Or more, because sometimes I forget. Then he tripped over and broke his neck when he fell to the floor. Yes, that's right. That is right. So after the incident when the cat ran away, Miss Alula then visited the cabin next to hers, only to find its occupant lying lifeless on the floor. He said she was worried when she heard the sound of something falling on the floor. That's when she went to look. Okay, but that doesn't answer the question why they drugged everybody, right? Because this all happened at night. So he must... yeah, I don't know. The door was not locked, so she opened to look, and you already know what happened after. Because this happened in the middle of the night, right? So how would they have known to drug everybody before that? There's just one thing, if you wouldn't mind. What? When you went to Mr. Asogi's cabin, Miss Mabova, was he already dead? Why? I already told you. When Nina opened the door of student's cabin and I looked inside. I was asking Miss Mabova. Well, Miss Pavlova? Ah. Oh. It is right. I saw him. It was dark, and he was wearing black, but he was on the floor, not moving. I was scared. I understand, and I believe you. So is that finally it now? Have we discovered the real truth about Kazuma's death at last? Ah, something very nearly slipped my mind. Oh, Mr. Sholmes? This photograph. Yes, I took this myself, you know. The cause of the death was a broken neck, therefore the victim died instantly. And the unfortunate incident that precipitated these events, a kitten on which the victim stumbled. However, if those are the facts, there's one particular area in this photograph that seems to me somewhat unnatural. What do you mean unnatural? What are your thoughts on the matter, Mr. Will? Oh, well... If Kazuma tripped and fell, and by some temporal stroke bad luck broke his neck, which part of this photograph print seems unnatural? Maybe him pointing his finger? Or the fact that he wrote anything at all, right? Hi! This word in Russian clearly wasn't written by Kazuma, so if you're looking for something natural, that's the obvious point. Very true. It is certainly peculiar, but it's not what I meant by unnatural, I'm afraid. Particularly a crass detail was overshadowed by the culprit. I mean, to identify another point. Oh, I see. Imagine, if you will, losing your footing yourself. In my opinion, if you landed as the victim appears to have done here, it would be most unnatural. Michelle, sure, you reached the same conclusion. How thoughtful you are, Mr. Sholmes. Thank you for your gentle guidance. Kazuma tripped and fell, and oh, okay, so that wasn't it. So we already thought of that. I mean, but I already tried to click on this, right? His body? Maybe his hand. Not really sure. Alright, if he really fell due to an unfortunate accident, then his fist just doesn't seem quite right. The exact same thought occurred to me. In the fall, one's instinct is to open the palms flat. Yet here we see the victim with his left hand tightly balled in two fists. Almost, you might say, as though he were gripping something. What do you mean? Simply that I took the liberty of investigating the victim's fist a short while ago. You did? And what, pray? Do you imagine I found there, my dear fellow? Mr. Sholmes, show us, please! Well, of course, my dear madam. Would I keep you in suspense? Oh, it is the earring, oh my gosh. This is what I found. Oh, the crescent moon with the little gemstone in the middle? Yes, you're right, the crescent moon. It's very pretty, but what does it tell us? It says nothing. I'm not so sure. That crescent moon looks familiar somehow. I've definitely seen it before. Observation, Mr. Naruhodo. That is the key. What? The truth is now tantalizingly close. How did that crescent moon come to be in Kazuma's clenched fist? This is the final clue, the last piece of the puzzle. Ask yourself, what does this little crescent moon mean? What significance has it? And observe, find the answer with your own eyes. Dunga 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 dunga, right here. Hey. Hi! Miss Huglova, I noticed that on your ear. Even though you have a metal earring, the decorative part of it seems to be missing. The little link holding it must have been broken. Eh? What? But looking at your other ear, you notice the crescent moon. Ah! I don't believe it. Wow. Wait, did she actually kill him? Now, the missing crescent moon was found in the victim's clenched fist. Clearly, there's only one logical conclusion. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes. Miss Pavlova, Mr. Arsenal must have grabbed that crescent moon and pulled it from your ear, perhaps just moments before he fell to the floor. In other words, last night in Mr. Arsenal's cabin, you witnessed the moment the victim fell with your own eyes. In fact, you were quite literally at arm's length from him. Oh, she was just like literally standing there, so she didn't kill him, but he just like fell right in front of her face. That's crazy. But then the question is, why did Mr. Arsenal do that? Why did he pull your aim from the air and hold it in his clenched fist during his final moments? Oh no. Danger. No one can protect you now. Please, Miss Mokova, tell us the truth. Last night. What did you do to Kazuma? Ah. Holy moly. When I think about everything that happened yesterday, it was too much. Running away, the fishing boat in the middle of the night, trying to climb into this huge ship. And then, when I was at last in this cabin, I could relax after this horrible, long day. Darka, wait! The worst, literally the worst day of her life. I couldn't believe it once he disappeared through the ventilator. I tried to call her with a little whistle. I tried waving her favorite toy. But nothing worked. Darka would not come back. What are you doing here at this time of night, Inspector? 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 Oh. I'm sorry. I thought it was a friend of mine. Oh, okay. It wasn't the inspector. The young man from your country. He was very polite and kind. He helped me to find Darka, and he promised not to tell anyone. But then, when I had my friend in my arms again and was going to leave the man's cabin. Just a moment. Just a moment, sorry, but... Oh, yes? I'm sure I know your face. I've seen you somewhere before. Ah, of course. You're Nikolina Pavlova, aren't you? The Russian ballerina. Huh? No, I don't know that name. My heart nearly stopped when he said that. He knew who I was. How could this man from a land in the faraway east know a Russian ballerina? Yes. I saw your performance in Japan. The beauty of the ballet made a deep impression on me. But what are you doing on this ship? I'm sure I had read that your ballet company was performing in Shanghai at the moment. I can't fool him. I have to tell him the truth and hope he doesn't tell anyone. I have no other choice. I see. So you've run away. Please keep my secret. Don't tell anyone. Give me a moment. I could use another opinion here. He's going to pull that cord. He's going to tell the captain. Why did I think I could trust him? Oh no, this is so sad. And then it happened. Everything at once. It was only a second, but it felt like forever. Wait, I shouted. And then... Oh, that's what happened. Darka jumped out of my arms and down to the young man's feet. And... No. As he turned around to look at me. Oh, no. Dang. I pushed him. I don't even know why. I don't know why I did it. I was just so scared. And I had to stop him from telling anyone about me. Yeah, that is a sad way to die. And that's when you went to fetch for help? From Seaman Stroganoff, who was on duty out in the passageway. I heard Nina cry out and thought on the floor, so I ran to her. She was standing at the cabin door, shaking like a leaf. She looked at me and said, "Help me, Beef. I need to find out. I will be. Please, I have nowhere to go." So you decided to help. And that's when you arranged things and covered some of Sam's make it look like I did. So no one would suspect the passage of the cabin next door. Yes. I went into the cabin and looked around to make sure there was nothing to show Nina was there. Then I found the story in the wardrobe. Still sleeping. Right. That's when he found me. So you worked out a plan to lay the blame on the stowaway. I closed wardrobe doors and put back Stern's paper sign. Luckily for me, that's the only reason Sisaldason started to believe me when I said I was innocent. I dragged the young man's body to a good place and then used ink that was spilling to write on the floor. I wrote so that the person who found them would look inside the wardrobe and find stowaway. And tell me, what of the glass bell? It was by my feet, so I picked it up. I see. But it was dark in the cabin. I didn't notice the other half. And then when Angel went back to her cabin, I finished job. By pressing the emergency alarm button in the passageway? Yes. Accordingly, the SS Burya did indeed come to an emergency halt at a little after 2 a.m., thus enticing the bolt on the cabin door to slide shut, creating the locked room mystery. There's still one thing I don't understand, Miss Pavlova. What? Well, you said that you told Kazuma about the fact that you'd run away from your homeland. It's because you were worried he was going to tell the captain that you pushed him. Isn't that right? Yes. But even if he had pulled the bell cord and called for the captain of the ship, aren't you friends with the very member of the crew? Why would that have been a problem? It was what he said first that made me scared. What he said first? What are you doing here at this time of night, Inspector? Oh, Inspector. Oh. Oh. I'm sorry. I thought it was a friend of mine. He said an inspector was his friend. Yes, meaning me, who was supposed to be acting as his bodyguard. I thought that if police knew about me, they would arrest me. So before he could pull the bell cord, I... May I stop you a moment, please, Miss Pavlova? It just doesn't seem to make sense. I mean, was Mr. Asogi really going to pull the bell cord? I don't know. What? What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo? Well, I'm not Kazuma, so I can't know for certain, but... He was a man of his word. If he told you he wouldn't give your secret, Ray, then he wouldn't have done it. No, he was walking over to it. He was going to pull the cord. He was going to make them send me back. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, the day's work is not yet done, it seems. There's one more deduction to make. What? Another deduction? Yes. What action was the victim really about to take at that moment? Can we determine whither the young man's gaze was directed? First, consider the victim's location in his cabin. That's easy. I remember every detail of the room. I mean, yes, I spent a lot of time in the wardrobe, but still. The cabin has been my home for this entire voyage. So this is how the cabin looked last night when Miss Oliver visited Kazuma-sama? Yes, that's exactly how it was. Are you ready then, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes. If there's one thing I've learned today, it's that a simple gaze can reveal all manner of truths. Not only that, in order to draw the right conclusion, you can't afford to be out by even a little bit when you're following the gaze to where it lands. So, when you turned away from Miss Pavlova, what exactly was Kazuma looking at? The wardrobe. My wardrobe. I was in there at the time, sleeping soundly, too soundly. If only I hadn't eaten chicken that was laced with a sleeping drug. If only he had woken me up. Then maybe this tragedy would have never happened. Man, this is so sad. Considering everything that happened last night. Certainly it may have looked as though Kazuma was going to bring the girl forward. Yes, however. What is directly beside the bell cord? The wardrobe. The wardrobe? And, more importantly, what was inside the wardrobe? The man's great friend. Sleeping soundly. Ah. Miss Pavlova, please, think back very carefully. What were Miss Asogi's exact words last night? Give me a moment. I can use another opinion here. Another opinion? Yes, but not from a member of the crew. No, Mr. Asogi intended to consult his close friend on the matter. To see if, between them, they might be able to help in some way, no doubt. No. Sadly, I can't know the truth for certain. It's too late for that. But I wish you had made sure of what Mr. Asogi was looking at. Things may have ended very differently if you had. Miss Pavlova. I want to thank you for finally admitting the truth. But, unfortunately, the truth is, a man lost his life because of what you did. And that will never change. I hope you'll never forget that. I'm sorry. Really. I'm so sorry. What have I done? And so, at long last, the mystery surrounding the tragic accident on the SS Brig was finally laid to rest. I'm sad. This is sad. I'm sad. 9th January, 7:14 p.m. SS Brig, Crescent passageway. Now everybody's sad and we're all sad together. What happened to Miss Pavlova now then? Once she reaches Great Britain, she'll be handed over to the British police in Scotland Yard. What about the fact that she ran away from Russia? Would the Russians try to repatriate her? Apparently, the English detective can speak to the immigration office and sort all that out. Mr. Sholmes can do that? So she won't be going back to Russia then? No, I don't think so. Even if she wanted to return in the future, I doubt she would be able to. She ran away, so now she's in exile for life. I see. I'm sorry. See Miss Stroganoff? I wanted to help our angel, no matter what. I didn't think about you. About how you lost a good friend. I will go with me. I will give myself to British police. That's kind of you. In the meantime, thank you for letting me go free again. Kazuma's death feels like such a waste, but... Well, do what you can for Miss Pavlova, won't you? Well, I'm afraid you need to pack now. We're due to arrive in Hong Kong tomorrow. As much as it pains me, I'm going to have to hand you over to the consul to arrange your passage back to Japan. Yes. I did stow away after all. I couldn't really expect any different. So, you should get back to your cabin now. No, I'm so sad. This is so sad. Looks like my study tour to Great Britain is over before it's even begun then. To think that only days ago, Kazuma and I were laughing together about how we tear up the streets of London. That seems like a distant memory now. Oh, what's that? Is it someone weeping? Susato-san? Naruhodo-san, I didn't know you had returned. Oh, well, I haven't been back long. Inspector Hosonaga just told me I should pack, you know, ready to leave the ship tomorrow and all that. So, I can't believe that this has happened. I can't believe someone's life can be over just like that. Susato-san. He had such grand ideas for his visit to Great Britain. So many dreams. And now they've been cruelly taken away. Just as he has. I thought I could never forgive the person responsible. But now we know the truth. That it was just an accident. Just a silly series of mishaps. It's too much, Naruhodo-san. It's just too much. Yes, I know. I wish there was something I could say. Inspector, my duty was to see Asogi-san safely to Great Britain, but I failed, and caused his two closest friends great pain and suffering as a result. I've let everyone down. And I will do anything to make up for my terrible blunder. Nobody blames you, Inspector. And I'm free again now, at least. Huh? Ha 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 ha. Surprise, Mr. Naruhodo. What is the meaning of this? Oh, a trifling matter. Simply that in my head, I think I shall always picture you wearing those shackles. Without them, the balance seems all wrong. It's distracting. Sorry? So I decided to restore them. For old time's sake, shall we say? You are a stowaway after all. Do you think this is funny? Mr. Sholmes. We do appreciate all your assistance. I'd like to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Not at all, not at all. And though it is a little late, may I offer my sincere condolences? The loss of your companion is truly heartrending. I hope that you will be able to fulfill some of his aspirations in his honor. I'm afraid that won't be possible. We shall be disembarking at the next port in Hong Kong. We have to return to Japan and make a full report about everything that's happened. Wait a minute. It's just me that has to go back, isn't it? I mean, I was the stowaway. The terms of the study tour were negotiated by the Department of Justice in both Great Britain and Japan. It was to be one lawyer and one assistant. Was to be? In the light of Mr. Asogi's unfortunate death, I'm afraid the study tour can no longer go ahead. Oh no. I don't care for me, but... Poor Susato-san. My dear fellows, the majority of problems have an extremely simple solution, you know. All you require is one lawyer, and the study tour can continue, surely. But there's no one else with the necessary qualifications, Mr. Sholmes. We know of no other lawyer. Qualifications, you say? Any qualifications obtained in your own country will be of little value in Great Britain, I'm afraid. Oh, but anyway, the voyage to London still promises a good month of time. Ample opportunity, I would say, to find yourselves another suitable lawyer. Yes. Miss Sato? Yes? Do you think perhaps I might be able to do it? Oh! But you're not a lawyer, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, unless... Are you studying law? No, I'm not, but... I'm sorry. In that case, I don't think there's even a chance it could work. But as I said, there's still more than a month before we reach England's shores. Isn't that right, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, I have a month in which to study to learn what I must to become a lawyer in Great Britain. Mr. Naruhodo, that's ridiculous. Are you seriously suggesting anybody could learn all of that in just 40 days? There's only one way to find out. I would work my fingers to the bone, Inspector, every single day. Will you let me try? And if, by the time we reach Great Britain, I haven't learned enough to be recognized as a lawyer, I'll take whatever punishment is deemed appropriate. But why put yourself in such a difficult position? For Kazuma. He said that there was something he had to do in Great Britain, and that he would sacrifice anything to make it happen. He was passionate about it. I can't let all that passion just come to nothing. And anyway, it's for my own benefit too. I will become a lawyer. I have to. What do you say, Miss Susato? I think it's a wonderful idea. Thank you. So, what does our bespectacled inspector friend say? Are you serious? One lawyer and one assistant. The numbers are indisputable. No, no, no. It's madness. Yet fascinating, wouldn't you agree? Fascinating. Duty and rules are the dull machine of existence that we all have abhor. Give us interest. Give us fascination. Speak for yourself. Besides, qualifications are no measure of a man. What matters is his character. No? Witness ample evidence of this man's exemplary character today with your own eyes. From the early hours of his birth until this very moment now. Despite continuing the passing of his close companion, and despite the accusation of guilt, this man has shown resourcefulness, intelligence, and above all, courage. Very well. I'll think of a clever way to word my report to the Department of Justice. Inspector! For all, I did just make a promise, didn't I? I said that I'd do anything at all to make up for my shortcomings here. Oh, thank you, Inspector. If you'll excuse me, I must pay a visit to the captain's quarters. I need to discuss what to do next and how best to make my report. Are you really prepared to attempt this, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, I'm going to try. I wonder, if you consider teaching me what I need to know, everything about being a lawyer? I would be delighted to help you. I am a judicial assistant after all. Thank you. And, Mr. Naruhodo? I'd like you to take charge of this. What? Me? Are you sure? I'm sure it's what Kazuma-sama would have wanted. Its name is Karuma. It's a great sword that's been in that Soki clan for generations. Very well, I accept. I'll treasure it. Always. So then, Mr. Sato? It seems we'll be working together for some time to come yet. It will be an honor, Mr. Naruhodo. For the next 40 days, I shan't grant you a single minute of freedom. We shall fill every spare moment with study. Yes, that's exactly what I need. But before we begin, I have have an earnest favor to ask of you, too. Goodness. What is it? Please throw me to the ground. 3 times. What? I should never have doubted you. You were Kazuma-sama's closest friend. Of course you had never done anything to hurt him. That should have been obvious to me from the start. But I allowed suspicion to get the better of me. No matter how upset I was feeling, it was completely unforgivable behavior. No! No, you were in shock. You just found out about me throwing away. No! I won't let you make excuses for me. Whatever the circumstances, I should have never thrown you. And not just once, but 5 times. The number keeps creeping up, doesn't it? Please, you must. Just take hold of me and throw me. Don't even think about it. No. I don't even know how. I've never thrown anyone in my life. Very right. Wise, Mr. Naruto. It isn't a skill one acquires without considerable training. Oh, Mr. Sholmes. I observed your third technique several times with great interest. I confess I was most impressed. When did he see that? I presume that would be some sort of Japanese wrestling. Oh, well, in a way, it's not wrestling, but my own interpretation of an ancient jujitsu technique. Apparently it's called the Susaso takedown. It leaves your head swimming, believe me. Habaguling. I'm a practitioner of the karate box myself. I'm somewhat an accomplished boxer. There he goes, dancing around again. I wonder if you'd be so kind as to instruct me on the technique of your wresting through. Yes, I'd be honored. Let us not dally. Demonstrate, my dear madam. Oh, of course. Oh no. Are you ready, Mr. Naruto? Sorry? Hiya! As you can see, you throw from the abdomen. Oh yes, arresting indeed. And that is what you term the Susaso takedown, is it? Actually, no. That was a Susaso squash. And then he was thrown around for the rest of his life. In a groggy state of consciousness. A scene from an evening recently spent with Kazuma flickered into my mind. Karuma? That's right. It's a prized sword that has been passed down through generations of the Asuka clan. I can't believe you managed to get permission to bring it with you. I mean, taking a katana on a study tour is more than a little irregular, surely. A Japanese man's sword is a soul. You know, I can't be parted from my katana. Karuma guides me. Truly. So, his name compels its wielder to slice evil in two. Not that you would need much compelling. But that's something. There's something very important that I have to do in Great Britain. And I'll sacrifice anything to make it happen. I'd appreciate you seeing it through with me. Of course I will. Whatever it is, I'll see it through to the end with you. I knew you wouldn't let me down. Kazuma! No! That important thing he had to do. I still don't know what it was. But I'm going to see the place for myself and work it out. Great Britain's capital, London. End of chapter 2! Ah! Holy moly. Episode 3. How many chapters are there? 5? 5 total, okay. Oh man, the adventure of the runaway room, and we'll continue that next time. We did go over, but we were getting close to the end, so it felt like the right thing to do to keep going. All right, so we'll start episode 3 next time, and yeah. Oh, I'm so glad I decided to play this today. I just really wanted to play it, and we'll see when I feel like playing Death's Door. Maybe even after I finish this whole game, because this has been a lot of fun. But yeah, Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Goodbye!